You know the scenario. You've probably lived it. It's Tuesday morning, you've got your coffee, and you're staring at the screens.
Mm-hmm.
You've done all the work. You spent the weekend analyzing charts. You have your support levels drawn. Your indicators are, I mean, they are all lining up perfect.
Perfect setup.
It is the perfect setup. You enter the trade with total confidence because you know this one is a winner.
And then,
And then the market immediately rips against you, just instant red. And it's not just a financial thing, right? It's physical. Your stomach drops,
oh,
your palms get sweaty, you start, bargaining with the screen. You're like, get back to break even and I'll get out. But it doesn't.
of course not.
You get stopped out, or worse, you freeze and take a huge loss. And afterward, you're just sitting there thinking, what is wrong with my strategy? What did I miss?
It's the universal trader's lament.
Yay.
We all assume the gap between the amateur and the pro is some kind of secret.
Right.
We think the pros have a better indicator or a faster news feed, or they know something we don't.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's an information gap. Like if I just read one more book on technical analysis, I'll stop losing.
But that is the trap, the gap.
Yeah.
It isn't technical. It's not about the strategy. It is 100% psychology.
Okay.
The professional trader doesn't analyze the market better than you. They just think about the market differently.
And that's what we're getting into today. We are doing a deep dive into the philosophy of Mark Douglas, specifically his masterpiece, Trading in the Zone.
Yeah, we're unpacking 50 really powerful mindset shifts from his work that can completely rewrite how you approach risk.
This is one of those topics that I think it really goes beyond trading. It's about making decisions when things are uncertain. But for traders, this is the holy grail.
It is.
So our mission today is pretty clear. We aren't teaching a setup. We're not looking at charts. We're going to explore Douglas's core idea that trading is a game of probabilities, not certainties.
And that if you want to make it in this game, you have to learn how to completely detach your ego from the outcome of any single trade, which is much, much harder than it sounds.
It sounds impossible, honestly. We're wired to want to be right. So let's start with the basics. What's the fundamental difference between the amateur mindset and the pro mindset?
It all boils down to a craving for certainty. The amateur is obsessed with being right.
Right.
They wait for that perfect moment we just talked about
Yeah.
because they are terrified of being wrong. They think, if I analyze this enough, if I look at enough variables, I can predict what will happen next.
That's the analysis paralysis trap. You're just staring at the buy button, but you can't click it because you aren't 100% sure.
Exactly. But the professional knows that 100% sure just doesn't exist. The professional operates under what Douglas calls the casino paradigm.
I love this analogy, but I really want to drill down into it because I think people kind of gloss over it. When we say be the casino, what does that actually mean, mathematically?
Okay, good question. Let's look at roulette. A standard wheel has red and black numbers, right?
Yep.
But it also has green slots, the 0, and usually double 0.
The house edge.
Precisely. That tiny slice of the wheel gives the casino an edge of about 5.26%. Now think about the casino manager.
Okay.
When some high roller walks in and bets $1 million on red, does the manager panic? Does he pray? Does he try to, manipulate the wheel?
No. He probably offers the guy a free drink and hopes he stays all night.
Exactly. The casino manager doesn't care about that one spin. He knows that on that specific spin, the guy might win. He might win 2 or 3 times in a row.
Sure.
But the manager knows that over a large enough sample size, say 10,000 spins, that 5.26% edge is going to grind the player down. The math makes the casino winner, inevitably.
So the casino surrenders to the randomness of the moment to profit from the certainty of the math?
That's a beautiful way to put it, yes.
Yeah.
They don't try to predict the individual event.
Yeah.
They just trust the aggregate.
Okay, but here is where I struggle, and I think a lot of listeners do too. A casino has a built-in mathematical advantage. A trader, well, we're just guessing, aren't we? How do we have an edge, like the house?
An edge in trading is it's a higher probability of one thing happening over another. That's it.
It's not a guarantee.
Not at all. It's looking at a pattern and saying, historically, when this happens, the price goes up 60% of the time.
But 60%, or even 55%, that feels incredibly shaky. I mean, if I told you I have a business plan that only works 55% of the time, you'd tell me to keep my day job.
And that's where the amateur gets tripped up. They think they need an 80 or 90% win rate to be profitable. But if you manage your risk, if your winners are twice as big as your losers, You can actually lose more trades than you win and still make a fortune.
So a 55% win rate is actually a money printing machine
If.
if you have the discipline to execute it over hundreds of trades.
Correct. But, and this is the massive but, it only works if you take every valid signal. If you start to pick and choose because you're scared or you feel like this one won't work, you disrupt the probability.
You ruin the edge.
You ruin the edge. The casino doesn't close the roulette table just because red won 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
It keeps spinning.
This brings us to the conflict between the micro and the macro.
Yes. The micro reality is that any single trade is basically random. It's a coin flip. But the macro reality is that if you flip that weighted coin 100 times, you will make money.
And the amateur lives in the micro.
Totally. Obsessing over every tick, emotional about every dollar. The pro lives in the macro, focus only on the set of trades.
But living in the macro is hard when the market feels like it's out to get you. I mean, we've all been there. You buy, it drops. You sell, it rallies. It feels personal.
And Douglas addresses this head on. He says you have to accept a really hard truth. The market owes you nothing. It's not your parent, it's not your teacher, and it is definitely not your friend.
It's a friend.
It's just a mechanism. It's the reflection of mass psychology. Millions of decisions just colliding. And this leads us to what Douglas calls his 5 fundamental truths. We really need to unpack these. They're the bedrock of the pro mindset.
Let's hit the first one because it's the most terrifying. Anything can happen.
Sounds obvious, right? Anything can happen. But traders don't really believe it. They look at a support level and think, it has to hold here. Everyone is watching this level.
But it doesn't have to hold.
No. Douglas reminds us that for the price to move, it only takes one guy, one trader at a desk in Tokyo or London or New York with enough capital to absorb all the liquidity at your price level.
And you can't know his phone number. You don't know if he's having a bad day or that his boss just screamed at him to liquidate a position because of a margin call.
Right. You are staring at a chart pattern thinking it predicts the future, but that chart can't account for the hedge fund manager who just spilled coffee on his keyboard and hit sell market by mistake.
That is the variable you can never control.
Never. Which connects directly to the second truth. Every moment is unique.
This is the one that trips up the smart people, I think. The ones who are good at pattern recognition.
Oh, absolutely. You see a setup, let's say a bull flag, and you think, I've seen this before. Last time I saw this, the market rallied 50 points.
So you load the boat. You bet big.
And then you lose. Why? Because while the pattern looks the same visually, the underlying structure is different. Are the exact same traders participating who were there last time?
No.
Is the economic context exactly the same? No. So expecting the exact same result is just madness. It's like stepping into a river. The water looks the same, but it's always different water.
So if every moment is unique and anything can happen, I mean, how do we ever trade with confidence? It sounds like we should just pack up and go home.
That is the paradox.
Yeah.
And this is the aha moment Douglas wants you to have. True confidence in trading doesn't come from prediction. It comes from acceptance.
Acceptance of what?
Acceptance of the unknown. If you truly accept that you cannot predict the future, you stop trying to. You stop fearing the unknown because you aren't trying to control it.
You just execute your edge?
You just execute your edge. You surrender to the math.
You know, that sounds liberating, but my ego hates it. My ego wants to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to predict the turn. I want to call the top.
And that desire is why you lose money. We're conditioned from childhood to equate being wrong with failure. In school, if you get the answer wrong, you get an F. You're stupid.
Right.
We bring that baggage into the market. We tie our self-worth to our P&L. If the line goes up, I am a genius. If the line goes down, I'm an idiot.
Douglas says we have to detach the ego completely. But how do you actually do that when it's your hard-earned money on the line?
You have to redefine what winning and losing even means. Douglas uses this brilliant analogy about a restaurant owner. Let's say you open a steakhouse. You buy 100 steaks for the weekend.
Okay, I'm with you.
Sunday night comes, and you've only sold 90 steaks. 10 of them have gone bad. You have to throw them in the trash.
Okay.
Now, do you stand over the trash can crying? Do you think, I am a failure as a businessman? I am stupid for buying these steaks.
Of course not. That would be ridiculous.
Right.
It's just a cost of doing business. Spoilage.
Exactly. It's an expense required to sell the other 90 steaks. In trading, a losing trade is simply the cost of doing business.
Wow.
It is the inventory that didn't sell. It's not a reflection of your character. It's not a mistake. It's just an expense you pay to find the winning trades.
That reframing is massive. If I look at a loss as a business expense rather than a mistake, it's
Mm.
just, it takes all the sting out of it.
And once you truly believe that, you achieve what he calls emotional neutrality. This is the goal. A win shouldn't make you feel like a god, because euphoria leads to recklessness, and a loss shouldn't make you feel fearful.
You're just a scientist recording data
You're
points.
just recording data. But
Yep.
getting to that point, it requires a level of discipline that most people just don't have. And I feel like discipline is a word that gets thrown around a lot without people knowing what it actually looks like
Yeah, in practice.
in practice.
Yeah.
Douglas is very specific. He talks about the trap of the one trade. He says repeatedly, one trade means nothing.
This goes back to the casino idea.
Yes. If you judge your success by what happened today, or on this one trade, you're lost. You have to think in sets. Douglas suggests looking at a block of 20 trades.
Explain that. What does that mean?
You commit to a system. You say, I am going to take the next 20 signals that match my criteria. I will not skip one. I will not move my stop loss. I will execute like a robot.
And then...
At the end of those 20 trades, then you look at the result.
That's terrifying, though, committing to 20 trades without, tweaking things.
It's only terrifying if you haven't pre-accepted the risk. This is another crucial concept. Most traders place a trade hoping it works. They haven't actually accepted that the money is basically gone the moment they click the button.
There was a test mentioned in the notes for this, the sleep test.
Simple and very effective. If you have an open position you can't sleep, or you're checking your phone under the dinner table,
We've all done that.
you are trading too big. You have exceeded your emotional threshold.
Yeah.
You care too much about the money.
So size down until you don't care.
Size down until you are bored. Boredom is good in trading. If you're excited, you're gambling. If you're scared, you're over-leveraged.
Yes.
If you're bored, you're probably a pro.
I love that. Size down until you're bored. But let me play devil's advocate. If the money doesn't matter yet, and we are just trying to build this mindset, how do we measure success? Because at the end of the day, I'm here to pay bills. If I lose money today, how can I say I had a good day?
This is the pivot. The pivot to process over profit.
Mm.
You have to adopt a new definition of success.
Mm.
Here it is.
Mm.
Did you follow your plan?
That's it.
Did you enter where you said you would? Did you exit when the rules told you to?
So if I followed my rules perfectly, but the trade lost money,
That was a good trade. You executed your job. The market just did its random thing. You paid your business expense.
and if I broke my rules, say I moved my stop loss because I was scared, and the trade eventually turned around and made me money.
That was a bad trade. Maybe the worst trade you can possibly make.
Why? You made money.
Because you just rewarded yourself for bad behavior. You reinforced a habit that will eventually blow up your account. It's like a dog jumping on the counter and stealing a steak.
Right.
If he gets to eat the steak, he's going to do it again, and eventually he's going to get caught. In trading, the success punishment cycle is real. You win by breaking rules. Your brain thinks, I don't need rules. You bet bigger, and then boom, you give it all back plus interest.
That is such a hard pill to swallow. We're saying that making money can actually be dangerous if you did it the wrong way.
In the long run, absolutely. You have to submit to structure. You build the structure when the market is closed, your rules, your risk limits, and then when the market is open, you submit to it. You don't get to negotiate with the structure in the heat of the moment.
It sounds like we're trying to reprogram our brains. We're fighting millions of years of evolution that tells us to run from danger and grab food when we see it.
We are, and that's the deeper layer of Douglas's work. Lesson 41 in our source material is so profound. You don't trade the market, you trade your beliefs about the market.
Wait, unpack that. You don't trade the market. You trade your beliefs.
We all have filters. If you subconsciously believe that money is bad or that you don't deserve success, maybe because of how you were raised, you will find a way to lose. You will self-sabotage.
Is that why you see guys who make a huge amount of money in a month and then lose it all in 2 days?
Often, yes. They hit a financial thermometer in their head that says, this is too much, I'm not comfortable here, and they subconsciously find a way to get rid of it, to return to their comfort zone. Douglas calls this the success punishment cycle.
So we're talking about a full-on identity shift here. It's not just about learning a chart pattern.
You have to stop wanting to be a guy who makes money and start wanting to be a disciplined trader.
What's the difference?
The guy who just wants to make money focuses on the outcome. He chases trades, he revenge trades, he gambles. The disciplined trader gets their satisfaction from flawless execution. The money is just a byproduct of that execution.
That's a subtle shift, but it changes everything. If my goal is flawless execution, then I'm in control. If my goal is make $500, I'm not in control because the market decides if I get that.
Exactly. You focus on what you can control. And Douglas recommends visualization to help with this, but not the kind of visualization people usually talk about. Don't visualize yourself on a yacht. That's useless.
Visualize the struggle.
Visualize yourself taking a loss without flinching. Visualize the market going against you and see yourself calmly stopping out. Visualize yourself letting a winner run without cashing out too early out of fear. You need to mentally rehearse the difficult moments so that when they happen, you've been there before.
It's like a flight simulator for your emotions.
And you need to change the inner monologue. Most traders have an inner critic that is just abusive. You idiot, you lost again, you always do this. You need to fire that guy.
And hire who?
Hire an inner coach. Okay, we took a loss. Did we follow the plan? Yes. Good job. That was a valid trade. Reset. What's the next opportunity?
It really is about becoming a different person.
It is. And that leads us to the final thought, Lesson 50. Trading isn't just a way to pay the bills. Douglas argues it's a mechanism for personal evolution.
Evolution. That sounds heavy for a finance deep dive.
Think about it. The market strips away all your illusions. You can't charm the market. You can't bully it. You can't lie to it. It reflects your own lack of discipline right back at you in the form of a declining bank balance. It forces you to face your true self.
So if you have issues with authority or patience or greed, the market just puts them under a microscope.
It amplifies them. And to succeed, you don't just need a better strategy. You have to evolve past your own flaws. You have to master your own mind.
That is daunting, but also inspiring. Let's recap this journey because we've covered a lot of ground. We started with the pain of the losing trade and the realization that the gap is psychology, not strategy.
We move through the casino paradigm, understanding that we are the house, playing the probabilities over a large sample size, not the gambler hoping to get lucky on one spin.
We accepted the hard truths, that anything can happen, that every moment is unique, and that the guy in Tokyo can ruin your chart setup at any moment.
We discussed detaching the ego-seeing losses as business expenses, like spoiled steaks, rather than personal failures.
We talked about discipline, valuing the process over the profit, avoiding the one-trade fallacy, and the importance of boredom.
And finally, we looked at identity reprogramming our beliefs to stop self-sabotage and shifting our goal from winning to executing.
It's a journey from trying to control the uncontrollable, the market, to controlling the only thing we actually can.
Ourselves.
The big aha moment for me in all of this, and I hope for you listening too, is simply this. You don't have to know what is going to happen next to make money.
That is the key. Once you truly believe that you don't need to predict the future to be profitable, the fear just evaporates. And when the fear is gone, you can trade in the zone.
So for everyone listening, here's the challenge. The next time you sit down to trade, stop trying to be a fortune teller. Stop trying to prove how smart you are.
Be the casino. Let the edge play out.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We talked about evolution. Mark Douglas suggests that the market is the ultimate mirror. If you are struggling in trading, it's likely not because the market is fighting you, it's because you are fighting yourself. So the question is, are you using trading to try to get rich quick, or are you brave enough to use it to master your own mind? Because ironically, only the path of mastery leads to the wealth you're looking for.
Be the trader who endures long enough for the edge to work.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.